Hi there, this is Frugal Green Girl, and I was just sitting here transplanting some tomatoes, so I thought I might show you how I do this, and how I was taught how to do this back when I went to the community college that I have locally here, and I went to for a whole year. So the method they taught me works really well, and I've been using it ever since, and it's really effective, so I thought I might share that with you. First thing you'll notice is actually the importance of fruit thinning, or not fruit thinning, seedling thinning. I usually thin my seedlings, and I did go through these, but I think I missed a few because this particular bunch had a few of them with a couple of them in one cell, so I guess I missed a few. But as you can see, it's really important because this one is in a cell all by itself, and look at how tall it is. This one and this one were both together. There's two plants in each cell, and as you can see, they're stunted. They're nowhere near as tall as their friend over here. If you don't pull out the second plant, they don't grow to be as tall and healthy as they would be if you were to thin them out and make sure that there's only one plant per cell. So this is a good example of why I want to do that. And if you actually left them in there and left them growing together all the way until you put them in your garden and beyond, they won't produce anywhere near as much fruit as they would if they were by themselves. So they have to compete for sunlight and water and nutrients, and so they each want their own space and they want to have room to grow. So when you plant your seeds, as I've mentioned before, make sure you thin them out and make sure there's only one plant per cell. It's really important. So anyway, on another note, here we go. Let's get started. The tomatoes get planted a little differently than others. They like to be buried really deep. And if you'll notice on a tomato plant, it has all these little hairs up and down the stem, and those will actually turn into roots if you let them go underneath the soil. And that produces a bushier, sturdier plant with a better root system, which is more drought tolerant. So it's really beneficial. So you just squeeze the little packet, break the roots from the plastic thing, and stick it in your new pot where you're going to be putting the plant, and put it all the way to the bottom, as opposed to making it to where it's level with the soil. You'll want to bury it deep, like I was just saying. So put it all the way to the bottom, and then fill the dirt around it on both sides, trying to keep the plant in the middle. There we go. Some people, instead of planting them in smaller trays like this one, where they have a small amount of space, and then eventually, maybe 4 weeks later, transplanting them into a bigger plant pot, they'll actually start them in the bigger pot. They'll just take the pot, put some soil in the bottom, and start their seed in it, and then as the plant grows, they'll continue to add soil and mound it up around it. That works well as well. Just don't plant the seed too deep in the first place, because otherwise if it tries to sprout and it tries to germinate, it won't germinate all the way, or it'll start to grow, but then it'll die because it's too far underneath the soil. So that's why it's important that it's right at the right depth when you go to plant the seeds, but then when you go to transplant them, you can actually plant them deeper. This, again, will help the plant in the long run. So it's really simple. You can put them all in the little pots and then in the trays where they're going to go. And with these, I planted them 12 weeks ahead of my planting day. Now it's 8 weeks from my planting day, and so I'm transplanting them into their bigger pots, and they'll be fine in there until planting day, and when I can put them out and in my garden. So it's really easy to do, and this will make the plants nice and healthy and happy, and by the time they get put out into the garden, they'll be really tall, you know, just like the ones you would get at the store, in a garden center or a big box store that has a garden center in it. So this is plenty big enough for them to live in for the next 2 months. So anyway, I'm Frugal Green Girl. I hope that this video was helpful. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any, and thank you for watching.